What if a home, a place of shelter and warmth, a sanctuary from the world, became a cage, not for its owner, but for something else entirely? A dark secret, a forgotten entity, something best left undisturbed. The house on Hemlock Lane was sold for $1, an almost insulting price, with one binding rule: never, under any circumstances, open the basement door. A condition that seemed simple enough on the surface. The previous owner, Alistair Finch, was a man of rigid routine, a creature of habit, always meticulously checking the basement lock, ensuring its steadfast closure, living as a warden, not a homeowner, his life dictated by the unseen prisoner below. He vanished suddenly, without a trace, leaving only the house, the unsettling rule, and a lingering sense of dread. Liam and Chloe, a young couple full of dreams, saw only opportunity in the neglected property. The strange condition seemed laughable, a mere eccentricity in an otherwise perfect deal, a flooded basement perhaps, or simply a collection of forgotten junk. Nothing to worry about, they thought. They eagerly signed the deed. Their future seemingly secured, received a single ornate key, heavy and cold, for the front door, the gateway to their new life, but none, significantly, for the basement, a deliberate omission, a silent warning. The lock, they were explicitly told, was never under any circumstance to be turned. The house itself was a classic two-story colonial, a picture of domestic tranquility, unremarkable in its appearance, except for the strangely heavy air that clung to it, and the silent, brooding presence of the basement door, a constant reminder of the secrets it held. They filled the rooms with laughter, music, and the vibrant energy of new beginnings, but the basement door remained a locked secret, a dark enigma, a constant, unsettling presence at the very heart of their new home. At first the house felt like a fresh start, a blank canvas upon which to paint their future. But the air inside was undeniably heavy, thick with an unseen weight, tinged with something metallic, ancient and disturbingly old. The basement door, always looming at the end of a perpetually dark hallway, was always lurking in the corner of their eyes, a silent observer. It was more than just a door. It was a palpable presence, a dark weight in the house. The couple initially joked nervously about the strange rule, dismissing it as superstition, but a persistent unease lingered, a seed of doubt planted in their minds. Some promises, like some doors, are inherently tempting to break, their allure growing with each passing day. The house waited patiently, silent and watchful, its secrets guarded, its hunger growing. And so, unknowingly, their unnatural bargain began, a pact with consequences they could never have imagined. The house had its own language, groans, rattles, and a deep rhythmic pulse that seemed to come from below. At night, the vibrations grew stronger, almost like a heartbeat under the floorboards. Liam and Chloe blamed trucks, trains, anything but the forbidden basement. Cold spots drifted through rooms, and a faint scent of decay would rise from the vents. The feeling of being watched became constant. Chloe would freeze at the sink, Liam would sense movement in empty doorways. The house was not just shelter, it was an observer, a participant. Neighbours offered little insight, only stories of Finch's reclusive habits and strange flickering lights at night. One whispered that the lights were signals, not malfunctions. The couple laughed it off, but the house seemed to listen. The basement door remained untouched, but the house was always awake. Something beneath was waiting for attention. The thrumming evolved into whispers, soft, sibilant murmurs drifting through the vents. At first they sounded like wind, but soon they took on the cadence of speech, a language just out of reach. The whispers paused when the couple spoke near a vent, as if listening. One night, after Chloe dropped a glass, the house fell silent. Then a slow, deliberate scraping echoed from the basement. The line between rational explanation and horror blurred. The house was aware of them, responding to their presence. The whispers became a constant, patient monologue from below. Sleep vanished, replaced by tense listening and hushed conversations. Every sound was suspect, every shadow a threat. The house was no longer just a structure, it was alive and it was communicating. The couple's nerves frayed, their sense of safety eroded. The whispers never stopped. The dread escalated from subtle sounds, whispers in the night, to undeniable physical manifestations. The atmosphere grew heavier, the air thick with an unseen presence. A book, seemingly of its own accord, fell from a shelf, crashing to the floor with a startling thud. Then a cupboard door swung open, slowly, deliberately, as if beckoning someone or something inside. Small things, easily dismissed as tricks of the light or drafts at first, but the frequency increased, the occurrences becoming more pronounced. Then Chloe found a single wet footprint in the kitchen, a chilling anomaly in the heart of their home. It was long, narrow and disturbingly clear, made of silty water, as if dredged from some unseen depth, and most unsettling of all, there was no trail leading to or from it. It simply appeared a stark violation of the natural order. The house was locked tight, every window secured, every entrance sealed against the outside world. Yet the footprint remained, defying logic, a physical impossibility that screamed of something beyond their understanding. The presence was no longer content to whisper in the shadows. It was growing bolder, more assertive. It was testing its boundaries, probing the limits of its influence, flexing its unseen muscles within the confines of their home. That night, a crash shattered the silence. A violent intrusion that jolted them awake. Their wedding photo lay on the floor, a symbol of their love and commitment now lying shattered at their feet. The glass was smashed into 1,000 glittering shards, yet the picture itself remained untouched, unscathed by the violence that surrounded it. It was a message, clear, concise and terrifying. You are not welcome here. This was no longer just a haunting, it was an eviction notice. The house was pushing back with increasing force, asserting its dominance over its new inhabitants. Its patience was thinning, its tolerance for their presence wearing away like stone in a relentless storm. The couple's rationalizations, their attempts to explain away the inexplicable, crumbled under the weight of the mounting evidence. The $1 price, once seen as an unbelievable stroke of luck, now felt like a sinister warning, a red flag they had foolishly ignored. It was not a bargain but a debt, a price far steeper than they could have ever imagined. Fear replaced laughter, joy giving way to a gnawing anxiety that permeated every corner of the house. The house was no longer just haunted by lingering spirits or echoes of the past. It was actively hostile, a living entity with a malevolent will of its own. The basement door, always slightly ajar, seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if something was gathering its strength behind it. The couple realized, with a growing sense of dread, something inside, something dark and powerful, wanted out, and it was becoming increasingly desperate. And it was getting bolder, its attempts to break free growing more violent, more terrifying with each passing night. The disturbances grew more personal, focusing on the basement door. The scratching began, slow, methodical, a single nail or claw dragging across the wood. Scratch, pause, scratch, pause. The rhythm was maddening. The sound came from the threshold itself, just inches away. The scratching lasted for hours, a constant reminder of their promise. Liam studied the door, old gouges in the wood, stains from anxious hands. This was not new. Finch had been a warden, and now Liam was becoming one too. The scratching was a negotiation, a test of the barrier. The couple argued. Chloe wanted to leave. Liam refused. He spent hours staring at the door, listening, obsessed. The house was shrinking their world to a single locked door. Fear turned to fixation. The scratching was both invitation and threat. The house demanded attention. Liam was no longer just a homeowner. He was the next guardian. The cycle was repeating. The presence left gifts, disturbing tokens of its reach. A dead bird, eyes removed, appeared on the welcome mat inside. Chloe's grandmother's locket was found open on her pillow, the photos replaced with dried leaves. The entity was not confined to the basement. It moved freely, violating their privacy. Each offering was a message. Nothing in the house was safe. The dead bird was a warning, the altered locket an erasure of memory. Liam began documenting every event, his obsession deepening. He stopped going to work, his world reduced to the house and its secrets. He spoke to the house, to the door, desperate for answers. The only reply was scratching, cold drafts and more impossible gifts. The house was a laboratory and they were its subjects. The experiment was far from over. All energy focused on the basement lock, an ancient iron thing, beautiful and sinister. The absence of a key was a torment, a temptation. The scratching stopped. Silence reigned for days, more unnerving than the noise. On the fourth night, a key slid out from the keyhole, pushed from the other side. It was long, skeletal, cold, and impossibly heavy. The entity was offering Liam the means to break his promise. Chloe begged him to throw it away, to leave. But Liam couldn't resist. He picked up the key, feeling its unnatural chill. The house seemed to hold its breath. The final move in the game had been made. The key was a dare, a question, will you open the door? Liam's obsession eclipsed his fear. The basement door was no longer just a barrier, it was an invitation. The moment of decision had arrived. The key felt alive in Liam's hand, its chills spreading through him. Chloe's pleas faded. The house's call was too strong. Years of whispers, gifts and scratching had led to this. Liam inserted the key. It turned smoothly, the lock clicking open. The bolt slid back with a deep resonant thud. Silence fell. The door was unlocked, the promise was broken. Liam pulled the door open. No stairs, just a wall of absolute darkness. His flashlight beam vanished into the void. No sound, no air. Just a perfect, silent blackness. From the darkness a whisper came, clear and close. It was not a human voice, but a dry, rustling sound. It spoke a single word, welcome. Liam stepped forward, crossing the threshold. The house on Hemlock Lane stands empty, a silent sentinel on a forgotten street. The basement door, however, is not silent. It's a gaping mouth, whispering promises of secrets untold. Chloe fled, scarred, forever haunted by the glimpse of what she saw lurking in the shadows. Liam, drawn by the same allure, was never seen again, vanished without a trace. He became another secret the house keeps, another soul claimed by the darkness within its walls. The entity's nature is unknowable, a force beyond human comprehension. Is it a predator, hunting for vulnerable souls, a collector adding to its macabre gallery, or a gatekeeper guarding something far more sinister? The $1 price is not for the house itself, a mere structure of wood and stone. It's for guardianship, for taking on the burden of keeping the entity contained. When curiosity overcomes duty, when the allure of the unknown proves too strong to resist, the guardian is taken, consumed by the very darkness they swore to protect. And so, the cycle begins anew, an endless dance of temptation and despair. The house selects for those who cannot leave a mystery unsolved, those driven by an insatiable need to know. It baits its trap with whispers, subtle suggestions carried on the wind. And shadows dancing in the periphery, hinting at something just beyond sight, always offering the key, the means to unlock the secrets it holds so dear. The house is the lure, a siren's call to the curious and the brave. The basement the trap, a carefully constructed snare waiting to spring, and human curiosity the bait, the irresistible force that draws them ever closer. It has worked for generations, preying on the inquisitive minds of countless souls, and it will work for generations to come, as long as there are mysteries left to uncover. The price remains the same. $1, a token offering for an unimaginable burden. A bargain for a house, a steal for such prime real estate, or so it seems, but a small price for a life, a soul lost to the darkness that dwells below. The question is always the same, echoing in the minds of those who dare to approach. What is behind the door? What secrets lie hidden in the inky blackness? Some doors are locked for a reason, sealed shut to protect the world from what lies beyond. If you're still watching, if you're still captivated by this tale of darkness and mystery, you're already part of it, drawn into the web of secrets that surrounds Hemlock Lane.